welcome back to the channel. Following on from the last episode where we were in the engine. Obviously the shells are now back in, so this episode I'm actually going to put the actual cases back together. Again, referring back to my booklet. That shows me where all the bolts go. Obviously, if you remember, when I actually started taking it apart, I did actual boards, the front, the mid, the back, the sump and the underneath. I've now cleaned every single one except the sump. I've got the sump ones to do. They've actually come up quite well. Just give them a bit of a clean up. I did also say that I was going to look for the actual diagram that shows you where to put the gasket sealant. I did print off a few bits. This was from the Z650 forum on Facebook. I'll leave a link in the description below. But that's the diagram I was actually looking for. This one here shows you the darker areas is where I need to put sealant, and obviously the gaps in between I don't need to put any sealant at all. So that's what I'll be working to. That's the actual service manual for the 77 Z650, KZ650, wherever you are in the world. As I say, I did print off a few bits from it, especially for later on, wiring diagram. Obviously the valve adjustments, the shims sizes, that's very, very handy. And then most importantly, torque settings. So that's got all my torque settings. Again, always refer to either the service manual or the actual bike manual itself for the torque settings. But today I'll be primarily using this one. Not much has happened during the week. I haven't touched the engine. The only thing I've had a delivery, which was I managed to find a rear mudguard. As you remember, mine was just rusted through. It was painted, full of filler. So an actual second hand, good price again. I do hunt for the best prices. Some people are charging a lot of money for these rear mudguards. I've seen them up as high as 150 and 170 pounds. This one was, I timed it obviously just right because it had literally just been listed on eBay with a price and a best offer. I threw in a cheeky bid. They counter bid by a few quid. I grabbed it, so it was a good buy. I've already put it on the bike. I've mopped it up loosely with the tail light, so I'll show you that in a second, and then we'll get back to the engine. The only other bit I've stuck on, obviously the swing arm's just gone back in, loose fit again. One of the shocks still needs some more work on it, but it is starting to look like a bike. So that's the mudguard. It was actually, say, pretty good condition. So I've mocked that up in there loosely, mocked up an old tail light, obviously with the bracket that we painted a while ago. But yeah, pleased with the price, pleased with the condition. It helps to actually just shop around and just wait. I really didn't want to spend about 150, 170 quid on one of these, and this was a lot less. I say, swing arm went in nicely. Still got the other shock to do, but I say the bodywork's just back on at the moment just to give me an idea, but it is actually starting to look more like a bike. But that's enough chat, let's get back into this engine. Right, so the first job to do, I have gone over these before, but obviously these cases have been sitting for some time. So I need to go back over these surfaces and actually give them a clean up, staying away from any bearing areas. So again, looking at the actual diagram of where the actual application is, it is literally all the way around. So come around here, a little bit there, a little bit there, round the back, a little bit in between, and follow it round. And the same on the other side, obviously not doing any of these areas. That's the main bolts that will go through and hold everything in place. So I'm going to get this cleaned up. This is just literally, I'll just literally lightly rub it down, just get it smooth, get it clean, and then we can start the gasket sealant. Right, so I've given the surfaces all the way around a clean on both sides. Literally just use some 1000 grit. I didn't want to use wire wool because obviously I don't want bits of metal shavings going down inside. So it's just a light rub round, make it nice and smooth. So next job, I say same on the top section, again light rubbing down just to clean it. So the next job is going to be gasket sealant, just in the areas, I say indicated on the sheet, so literally just around the outside, all the dark grey areas is where I'll be putting gasket sealant. As soon as that's done, I can put the top section back in, obviously remembering the cam chain. So that's all it is. Just apply a small amount, and I can move it around with my finger. And you need to do that obviously the whole way around, so join me again in a few minutes when I've got most of this done. Right, so I've gone round the whole way. You have to be careful in between, wipe any excess off with a rag, make sure it doesn't touch the bearings. So I've gone round all the way around here, light coat. I've also done a light coat on the other side, so again it's just a mirror image of what you've done on this side. On this side, avoiding any bearing areas, crank, etc. And again, avoiding the shells but up to the edge. Same on the other side. Right, so the next thing to do, I'm going to stick gloves on for this, is join the two halves together, and then we can get some bolts in. Right, so I've got all the com rods in the upright position. Obviously the important bit is the cam chain. So when I get close, I can feed that through. Right, so now to get this into position. The top half back up because it wasn't leveling out straight, and I've just worked out why. Inside these top cutouts here is a notch. There's another one there. There's actually a notch in the edge of the gearbox, and again on this one, and they were round the other way. So I just need to get this one dead straight. That one is fine. So as you can see, one there and one there. Alright, finally managed to get the, let's say, inside here there's like a notch like I showed you. I've managed to get that in exactly the right position, and it's the same on the other side, and it has gone on a lot better. Obviously there's a locating dowel just inside here. There's one on the other side. I've still got the back bolt, which is this one here. I say all these literally related to back, and then mid, and I've also put the fronts in loose as well. So all I'm going to do now is just tighten these down, not torque them yet. So that's the next job. Right, so that's the top one's done. I'm just going to spin the engine around and do the ones at the front underneath. So we've actually got these across the front. They're the next ones. Right, and that's it for the front ones. So I'm just going to give these a tweak. All I've got left is the unders, which primarily hold the crank in place, and then the sump bolts, which I'll clean up and we'll come to later. So I'm just going to give these another tweak down, and then that should be about it. I just want this to sort of clamp together and that gasket sealant to dry. back. Right, the only other bolt I've got is that one, which is the one, if you remember, fits in the back. So let's turn the engine around and get that one installed. I know the question is going to come out, you haven't Loctited. At the moment, no, it's purely to keep these cases together. That's why I've only gone hand tight. Well, a little more than hand tight, but I haven't gone torque setting tight. It's purely so I can clamp these cases together, get that seal, and then I can remove them once it's all dry and Loctite the ones that I need to do. Again, there's this pattern to which ones need Loctite and which ones don't, but I will refer back to the manual for that. So pleased with how that's gone. It was it was a bit fiddly just trying to get, obviously it didn't help with the locator pin that I'd missed. It was round the wrong way, and same on the other side. But everything seems to have gone back flush fitting. I will give some of these probably another quick tweak. No, that's tight enough. I say most of these bolts will be coming back out as soon as this is actually set and dried. It shouldn't take too long. I'll take some of these bolts out and they'll be Loctited. I say, but I need to check which ones have to be done, and then they'll be torqued down. As I said to you before, I have got a print out of the torque settings, but it is available in the manuals. Right, one last check I wanted to do. Obviously, you always worry that, obviously this is the first time putting an engine back together. I wanted to make sure everything goes in properly and works properly and nothing is stuck. So I've actually attached the rotor bolt. And everything is spinning as it should. So everything seems to be attached, oil pump's being turned, which is a relief. So as I say, I'm just going to leave these crankcases for a while, just let them dry. They're bolted down, so they should stick pretty good. No leaks. And then I'll Loctite the bolts and torque them down. But that really just about, as I say, I'm breaking this up into small little chunks, little videos each week. We're just tackling one job at a time. So next episode probably we'll clean up the head gasket, get the sump back together, and see where we go from there. Right, so thanks for joining me on that one. I hope that one was helpful. As I say, I'm just taking this in little steps, getting the jobs done. Pleased that it's gone back together, even more pleased that it actually turns over and nothing's jammed or stuck, because that was the worry I had. Next episode, as I say, we'll continue on. I'll get the sump bolts cleaned up. It's just a case of under the wire wheel, just to polish them up and give them a bit of a clean. So we'll get all the bits underneath that I need. They're all sitting down. Maybe get a few of the cases back on, like the sprocket cover, the inner sprocket cover casing. Maybe get that on, clean up the base head gasket surface, but just do things in little steps. So that'll be coming up next. As I say, for torque settings, refer to the manual. There are service manuals available that have also got the torque settings. I'll leave a link in the description to the Z650 KZ650 forum on Facebook. Great bunch of guys on there. Thanks very much for all your help and your support and all the advice that's been given. Service manuals on there, so you can join that freely. Have a chat with them if you're into Z650s. A wealth of knowledge, and they'll help you where they can. But as I say, there is a service manual on there that you can actually PDF that you can actually download. So link in the description on that one. And then we'll continue on with the engine in the next episode. Again, big shout out to my patrons. I can't thank you enough for all the help and support you give me. It's amazing what you guys do, and I really appreciate the support. So again, big thank you. But as I say, that wraps it up for this week. So links to other videos top left and top right, and join me again next time. Thanks for watching. Cheers.